Episode 8, first Zoom
Woo!
podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We have Coach Whit with us today. Coach Whit is on because she is I'm like looking back at the camera again. I have to look at this thing, but whatever. Coach Whit is here with us because she is beauty, brains, and gains. We couldn't have a more equipped guest on. Whit is attached to No Windy Sleeves herself because of the guys, but Whit is going to take over and tell us all about her and why she is the perfect guest for us. Head it.
No. Oh, wait, do I go now?
Yeah, you go.
So yes, I know the boys, Eric and Chris. I interned with them at Villanova. We were there for about 2 years together. So we started as interns and then we got into paid positions and then we kind of just stayed friends after we kind of went our own ways. But I went to school at East Stroudsburg. I went for exercise science. I got my bachelor's degree in that. I stayed for an extra year, got my master's in exercise science as well. And then I interned. So in there, I interned with Villanova. So that's how I kind of got into the field. I have my CSCS certification. I'm also certified with the functional movement screen. I don't know if you've heard, I'm sure you've heard of that before. Yeah. I have that certification. So after my paid position at Villanova, I kind of was looking for a new position. No one was really around, open. So I ended up volunteer interning at St. Joe's. So I went from being paid to not being paid. And then out of St. Joe's, I found a position at LaSalle, and I've been there for the last 3 years.
St. Joe's being the all-boys school? That's in...
No, University in Philly.
I was just like, oh, wow, you've been over here.
Probably by that.
I know, there's always different schools, different things in different areas. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's an all-boys school. Go for you.
You're just a badass.
I'm trying to be.
Hard every single day.
I really have
I did all of this. Killing it.
Still doing it.
But yeah, now stayed in the Philadelphia area. What's that?
So where are you now?
LaSalle University. That's in like North Philly.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I'm trying to stay local just because I'm like tied to this area. I have family here. I don't really want to go anywhere else. So I've kind of just been sticking around.
Yeah, that's the whole family. I totally understand that. My sister, especially since my niece was born and now you have, how old is your baby girl now?
She just turned 1.
Oh, I saw that. She's 1. Oh my goodness. So that's the other thing is with all of this going on, she's also a mommy. So she's just like a badass mommy who takes no shit, and then she's going to raise this badass little girl.
Oh yeah.
But the same thing, my sister, once my niece was born, she was like, you cannot move away from me. So sometimes family kind of makes it, you're sticking around to the place. But let's get into you being a badass strength and conditioning coach and you dealing a lot with male athletes, female athletes. Do you find that we spoke about this a little earlier because I went to school for athletic training. Do you find that especially since we're young and we're smaller, do you ever find that you feel like people underestimate your ability? Do you feel like that's something that you have kind of taken a grasp of dealing with? Because I know that's a lot of now is women trying to show, even though we shouldn't have to show that we can hang with the guys. What's some things that you've been through with that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that I've definitely been challenged more in a strength and conditioning coach position. Like you said, it's predominantly male. So I feel like coming in, like I have to prove myself. And I think my bosses and my athletes as well challenge me more because I'm a female. Yeah. And not just looking like I'm pretty small, like I'm only 5'3", I'm 120 pounds, like I'm not very big. So I feel like I have to constantly prove myself, not just like knowledge wise, but like physically too. Like I have to be able to do what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think women in this field and me personally, I've been underestimated and I've kind of had to like for example, like working at Villanova, like I work with football.
Right.
So I have to like off the rip, like set my standard and kind of set the tone. And then they'll realize like, okay, she's for real. Like I can't be quiet. I can't be shy. Like I have to like command the room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think my boss at Villanova did a really good job at like preparing me and like showing me how to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was the other part of your question?
That's pretty much it. Just we're going to go off of that because for me being an athletic trainer, when I was working with athletes, when I was interning and when I was going through all of my rotations in the athletic training room, again, like working with football players or working with different people, they kind of look at you like you should need help almost to be able to help them. They're like, I don't need help. I'm helping you. And then just like you said, it's taking that strong personality and not being like timid, like, oh, okay, like I'm dealing with the guys now. It's like almost even more that you have to, like you said, like command the room. Like you can't take any shit from anybody. You can't let anybody think that you're weak. And it's even more so than just being like a female out in the world when you're trying to not take over a male dominant like position. It's just that extra kind of not like stress, but it's that extra like anxiousness where you're just like, what are people looking at me, this guy? Because I know when I was a head athletic trainer at private school, I was working with ice hockey. And again, it's not even at a college level, but it was a private school. So all the parents think that they know everything, they're whatever. So anytime something would happen with like the players and you take them off the ice, all of a sudden there's a person next to you. And you're like, can I help you? They're like, well, do you need help? No, I think I got it covered, dude.
No,
like
working. I'm here working. Thank you.
I'm good. Are you their dad? No, I just wanted to know if you needed help. No, think I got it covered here. Thank you, though. Crazy. And then they would come like running over again, like, oh my God, like he's spitting out blood. I'm like, what? So I go back over to the kid again. The kid, you're in an ice rink. You have dry air. The kid had like a bloody booger on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, are you kidding me? So it's these people that think that you need help. But it's just like, dude, I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
Like if I needed help, one, no problem asking if I needed help. Two, I should know how to do this. This is why I'm hired here, guys.
I found too, like if your athletes sense like one moment of weakness or like try to like pull one over on you and they like go like they can like figure out like, oh, I can do this when she's not looking, or like any type of weakness, they will take advantage of that. And like I'm not that far out of college. Like I get it. I played lacrosse in college when I was at East Stroudsburg. So I get it. But if they sense like any moment of weakness, they're gonna take that to like the
run with it. Yeah. And then there's no coming back from it either.
Oh, and it's a way harder to get like their trust and their discipline back.
Yeah. When because I played field hockey in college and then I coached varsity field hockey for 5 years. And the same thing, like right off the bat with athletes, if you show them at all that you are like misstepping or you're questioning yourself, or if they have a question and you can't answer it and you stutter at all, they just are like on it. They are just sharks on blood in the water, going after it, and then it's game over. So from the beginning, it's like such a important thing to, again, like you said, like command the respect, like even them saying anything and then you just let it go. Or if they're just like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, can I do this? And you're just like very soft, you're like, oh sure, and like, no, whatever you need. It's like, no, it can't happen.
I've had, when I was at Villanova, there was like one lift when I was towards like the end of the weight room where like all the linemen were. So we kind of like spread out. We had like our groups, our position players that we were like in charge of. I was in charge of the linemen this day. Okay. These kids are like 300 plus pounds. They're huge. Right. And I was counting the reps. They're supposed to do 10 reps. And they didn't think I was watching. And this one kid, he was like a freshman or sophomore, he cut like 2 reps. And I'm like, okay. So I walk over to him. I was like, did you do all your reps? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, come on. I was counting, like, don't lie to my face. And then from there on, I was like pissed because like, okay, you're lying to me. So I made him do it again. And he was like, he kind of looked at me. He was like taken back. I was like, do it again. Like, do your set over. And he did it. And like after that, I didn't have any problems. But like I said, like you just have to set that standard from the beginning.
Yeah, you can't. Badass. Yeah, you can't give them any. You can't give them any rope. You can't give them any slack.
Literally run with it. And I've had it with females too, not just males. But female athletes too, they think just because I'm a female, I'm like, oh, she'll be nicer to us, like she's on our side, like type of a thing. Like, no. I'm like, I'm just as hard on the females, if harder, than on the males.
Yeah, because we have to keep that standard up. You can't let them fall back. And on top of it, like you said, you were a female athlete too. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, no, I busted my ass. You're not going to get away with it. Yeah. You need to work as well.
Yeah, like I've been through everything they've been through. Like I know what it's like to have a job and go to school and play a sport. Like I don't have any sympathy when it comes to that because I've done it myself.
Yeah, and that, I think when I became a field hockey coach for them, I think it actually benefited because they kind of do look at you in a respectful state. You're not just some like random like phys ed teacher or some random coach that never did it themselves. So if they see that you've done it, that they kind of, especially females, will listen a little better. Yeah. But guys are just, even the high school like boys, especially now, they're like awful. They just think that they are like the most badass, like
know everything.
Oh my God, they're the best athletes in the world, but they're the whiniest and whatever things.
And you're like, come on, work for it.
And you're like, come on. Or just how like they speak. Have you ever had people being like inappropriate with you? Have you ever had to like knock down athletes a few notches?
I don't remember like anything that was like super inappropriate, but like, I mean, guys are going to be guys. Yeah. I think they're like big and macho, but like when they come into the weight room and we ask them to do something and it gets hard, they're like, oh, wait. I'm like, but I don't think I've ever had like anything super inappropriate that was like,
that's good.
Off the wall, but
yeah,
especially high school. I can't imagine it's probably way worse than college.
They're just nuts because I think at that point, once they get to college, they're a little better in the sense of, okay, this is somebody who's my coach. I should be respectful at this point.
It is too. They grow up with the same people for so long. So like they feel like they have, like they're comfortable. And when they go to college, it's like all new people around them. So it's like they're already kind of like kicked down a notch.
Little fish, big ponds. So they're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I know dealing with like the high school boys in there, I had so many people come into my athletic training room and I had to like kick them out. I'm like, you can't be in here doing this kind of stuff. Out. One of them was like, if I get however many tweets, will you go to prom with me? I'm like, get out of my office. You're not hurt. You gotta get out.
Oh my gosh.
So there's all these just things where being like a female in like these roles, it's just certain things that like get under your skin because you're just like, if I was a male, you wouldn't be doing this. Or if I was a male, you wouldn't be asking me this. And also I think, like you said, we're relatively young and we're small. So that's why I think a lot of people also look at us in a sense of, do you need help? Almost like we're these little like damsels, but it's just delicate. Like, we don't need you to help us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that one. Cause I definitely think, like you said, I think it's like almost worse in a sense where like, I don't know, this day and age, like how kids are growing up with like social media and like, I don't know, I just think they're a little bit more out of control than what I remember, at least from being in high school and college.
100%.
But I just kind of, like little comments don't really bother me unless it's like something ridiculous, then I'll get pissed. But I kind of just let like little things roll off my shoulder and, continue doing what I'm doing.
It's also like picking your battles too.
Oh,
we're always going to go through it. And if you can just have like the tough skin, and again, like we keep reiterating, just commanding the room and owning that kind of, not like power, but owning that this is my position. I'm going to stay professional. I'm going to stay on top of everybody. If you have your comments, like just keep it moving. But then on top of it, how do you, being a mom, so let's tie in being a mommy. Before you were a mommy, what was fitness like for you, and how has it kind of changed for you now that you have her running around?
So obviously fitness and lifting and, whatever I'm doing is always like a part of my everyday life. And I think before having Mila, it was kind of just like part of my job almost. Like, so when I'm at work, I like lift while I'm at work, and that's just like part of my day. So that was just like a normal thing for me, like always having a workout in, like, throughout the week. But after having her, obviously there's like a recovery period and then like a new type of like routine and like schedule adjustment. And I found like, I think like the first 6 months after having her, I was really just like feeling it out and trying to like find some type of normalcy. But I really didn't like, I started out very slow. Like I said before, like I lift mostly. I run a little bit, but like lifting's kind of like my main form of exercise. So afterwards, I didn't do anything for the first 6 weeks. Maybe like the next month after that, I really just like walked. Like walking was enough for me. And then I slowly like incorporated like body weight stuff and just trying to like feel out like what my body's ready to do. And then I think, I don't know, I'd say after like somewhere between like 6 and 8 months, I kind of jumped back into like where I left off.
Okay.
But I think the hardest part was just finding a new routine, because I'm kind of like a type A person where like I have my day set ahead of time. Like I know when I'm lifting and, you know, I'm good. But now it's like, okay, I'm going to think I'm lifting at this time, but it might not happen. So then I try and lift later and then that doesn't happen. And then like 3 days go by and I haven't worked out. So that's kind of like still new for me, but I just have to like keep reminding myself that it's okay. It's not the end of the world if, you know, I don't work out. But that's, I think, been the most difficult thing for me.
Now, were you that cute little pregnant one that was still working out and still lifting the weights while you had the belly going?
I tried. So once I got to like the 3rd trimester, I kind of stopped lifting. I did like some light stuff, but I was so uncomfortable and just tired that I really didn't want to do anything. So I walked a lot just to like do something during the day, but I kind of like toned it back that like 3rd trimester.
Okay.
So
now with her, and does your husband, is he into fitness and everything like that too?
Yeah, so he played football in college. So lifting is also like a big part of his life. So that's kind of something that we have in common and is good for the both of us. We actually we have like a garage gym going on, which thankfully we started before the pandemic. So that was nice.
But you had it. You didn't have to buy all these up-priced everything ran out anyway.
I know, it was crazy. But yeah, so he works out, and we kind of just had to like, I don't know, figure both of our schedules out just to make it work so like we're both happy and stuff like that.
Now, you're not full-time right now, or are you full-time at the school? How is that going right now?
So I'm full-time. Right now I'm still like, we're just working virtually.
Okay.
The campus, like we can be on campus, but the campus itself went virtual, so there's no kids.
Okay.
But we have men's and women's basketball on campus, so they haven't started lifting yet, so we're trying to get that started and see how it goes, and then hopefully like bring some more athletes back. But like there's really not much, like we just got all our fall programming out like this week, so the kids have stuff to do on their own, whether they have stuff at home or like a gym open near them. But yeah, it's really like there's really not much going on right now, so it's kind of weird. Like I'm kind of just like waiting for like
probably harder because you can't like keep track of absolutely everybody you were training. You have to just kind of like, here's your program, like I hope you're doing it kind of thing.
Yes, and I mean it's like with summer programming, like the kids go home for the summer, we give them a packet. I'm gonna say 75% of them don't do it, and that's just reality. Their kids, life, whatever. But I'm crossing my fingers that most of them are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Have you had any virtual, like how we're doing like Zoom now, have you had any virtual training with them, or it's all just you created the program and now you just send it to them and hope?
So it's all, we literally just send it to them and hope they do it. We try to do virtual like workouts and stuff, but the NCAA like didn't love that idea. I think just like from a privacy standpoint. So we haven't been able to do that. But we were for this semester able to set up like Zoom appointments. Like if the kids have like questions about their form or like how to do an exercise, they can set up an appointment with us and we can kind of show them how to do it, but we can't like watch them work out.
Okay.
So there's just like logistics that you have to get around.
Right. With the training thing, I know that's another thing that we said we wanted to hit on with fitness in general. So even taking away from like working with your athletes and your athletes specifically, again, with all like this social media and Instagramming and things like that, we spoke about different misconceptions or pet peeves. What is your biggest pet peeve that is kind of this new social media fitness thing like that? Like, what do you, as you're scrolling through, you're like, oh my goodness, unfollow, I cannot stand this, doing this anymore?
Well, the one thing that I hear the most, like from my athletes when I'm in the weight room, and it kills me every single time, is that they don't want to be bulky. They don't want to get big. They don't want to get fat.
And girls or just the girls?
The girls.
Oh,
it's mostly just the girls. The guys love lifting for the most part.
Right.
The girls, they kill me. They think doing like, you know, the things that I'm asking them to do, and mind you, it's not heavy. It's not heavy at all, but to them, it's like the end of the world. Like, they don't want to lift because they think they're going to get big.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, guys, like, we're here to play a sport. Like, you want to have muscle on you and you want to be stronger than the other person. And I just remember, like, when I played, like, that was my goal. I was like, I want to be the strongest person on the field. And like my team as a whole, we were all like that. We're like, okay, our goal is to win. Like, you know, putting time and work in the weight room, like that's necessary to get there. And I just come across, like, especially the past like year or two, these girls just like, they're like scared to lift and scared of muscle. And like, I think it comes back to like what they're seeing on social media. Like, there's like a disconnect where like they see these girls on social media that are like cut up and ripped and like they look really good, but they don't understand that like those girls are probably lifting weights most likely. And for whatever reason, there's like a disconnect there. And that's like one of my biggest pet peeves is like, they don't want to get bulky, but they're just like, they're uneducated like in that field. So they don't really understand, but
yeah, they don't. And I talk about, I think this topic specifically is the most talked about topic I have with trainers, and especially male trainers, because a lot of my coworkers will ask me like, how do you get women to understand that lifting weights is not going to make them bulky? And I'm like, I go through the same thing as a female. And like we keep talking about, me and you are pretty petite people, but we still lift weights. We're still in shape. It's still what we do. So anytime I'm sitting down with a woman and she's talking about what her goals are, and usually women have the same goals. It's like, I want to have some abs. I want to get my butt to lift up, and I want some definition in all like these random different places. And once you're like, okay, well, we're going to do this lifting program. They're like, oh, no. Like, I don't want to get bulky. Yeah. Like, it's just this crazy thing that it's just, like you said, it's being uneducated or miseducated, whatever term that you want to use for it. But it's definitely the number one thing that I think most trainers will deal with is women. I had one client who I would even hand her like a 5-pound weight. Oh my God. And she would like, so dramatic. She would grab the weight and literally throw herself to the ground like it was an anchor. I'm like, why are you being so dramatic? She was just like, no. It's so heavy. I'm like, it is not heavy. You're being so dramatic.
Oh my God.
She's like, I don't want to get bulky. My legs are already like thick. I'm like, it's just a very like misconception. But then she would show me pictures of Beyonce, Sierra, and J-Lo. And she's like, I want to look like them. I'm like, do you think that they don't fucking put a weight in their hands? I'm like, do you know what they go through with their trainers?
Like, my goal is like Carrie Underwood. I'm not gonna get back into the
You're supposed to work out today.
No, I never.
She texted me.
I was like, I'm gonna work out today.
She literally texted me that she had space available before this. She goes, I'm gonna work out. Who am I? I'm like, yes.
Yep, no,
Did not.
I've been dealing with a whole bunch of stuff that I had to get done today. Someone tried to take my identity. I don't know who would want to be me. But.
Someone tried to take Courtney's identity.
Yeah, someone tried to take my fucking social security. So I was dealing with that all day. I was like, I'm going to work out for once in my life.
Yeah, the day that Courtney wants to work out.
Come on.
Fine.
But what do you say to women? Like, or the girls that are in the weight room? Do you have a discussion with them, or are you just like, okay, like, just do it, please?
Like, the first time it comes out of their mouth, yes, I tell them, like, listen, you're not going to get bulky. The only way you're going to get, and I think bulky to them is like fat, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Or like a bodybuilder. I'm like, first of all, we're not training like bodybuilders. That's not what we're doing.
For performance.
Second of all, the only way you're going to put on weight is if you're overeating, if you're not eating the correct things. And 3, like the people you see on social media that are cut up are lifting, some form of lifting, they're doing it. So I kind of just like briefly go over that with them. I'm not going to go like, you know, textbook, but
yeah,
I say that the first time, but then it's just like, if it keeps happening, I'm just like, guys, I'm like, it's literally one of my teams. It's like a constant thing. They're just like so timid, and they'll like try and like not move their weights up if I'm not paying attention, or like, you know, just do things to get around it. But it's definitely still a constant battle, I feel like.
And I think it's going to continue to be. And then we talk about a lot of the time, the social media thing, there's so much Photoshop. There's so much lighting. There's so much.
The best is when you see the girls like to make their butt look bigger and the walls like deformed.
Yeah.
Like their shadow on the wall is like, I'm like,
yeah, even just like people that aren't educated and they have like a fitness profile and they have, you know, some certification that they got like in an hour online. Like there's, you just don't know like what their experience is, and they're putting all this stuff out there, maybe stuff that worked for them, right, and like make them look good, and that's what they're pushing to other people. But you know, there's also so much like miseducation out there just from like scrolling through Instagram.
Oh, for sure.
And I was thinking about this the other day because somebody caught my attention on this, and I think it's very apparent that girls will see other girls, and again, like they look good, they have all these followers, they have all these likes, and then, oh, I'm going to follow all the workouts that she does. But like you just said, those workouts might work for that person, but that person might not be actually educated to be educating other people or training other people. So again, you work out, like you're young, your genetics are great, not knocking people, because there are a lot of very intelligent people posting as well. But like the Instagram models that are like, oh, do this workout. Meanwhile, they don't know why they're doing the workout themselves. And there's no rhyme or reason for it. They're just like threw some exercises together with them, like double bouncing or adding a booty band onto something and being like, do this workout. But again, and they're like, okay, this
it's like it could work for them. Like they could have a good metabolism, and it's not gonna work
but
for
if you
everybody.
actually were to ask that person to write you a workout plan, they're going to fall short because they don't know how to train other people. They just know how to exercise themselves because that's what's worked for them and whatever that they're taking.
And also, I think like people don't understand, especially like athletes and like younger kids and stuff, that there's so much more that goes in to working out. Like, yeah, you can do a workout, but that's not going to get you like this dream body that you keep seeing on social media. Like there's so much more, like nutrition, sleep, like mental health. Like there's so much more that goes into it that's going to get you to that point. But I think kids just want like the quick and easy, like, and there's no quick and easy fix when you want to have a nice body. Like you have to put in effort and be consistent and all of that stuff.
And then once they achieve it, it's like, are you going to keep it, or are you just going to let it go and then restart all over again? And I don't even think it's just kids. I think it's everybody.
I mean,
I'm
like that too. Fix. I want like a quick fix, but then I'm also like, I know
this one's like, I haven't worked out in 3 weeks.
I'm gonna do it tonight. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna work out tonight. I'm gonna do a nice light workout. We are do a couple breathing exercises. I'm like, whew, it's exhausting.
Yeah, but going back to what this whole thing started was like your biggest pet peeve, and I think it's a huge thing with the whole bulky thing. But like you said, bulky doesn't come from. Now we're talking to all of our listeners. Listen to me and Claire now. Bulkiness does not come from you lifting weights. We want to put it out there for the 1,000,000th, 100,000th time. Lifting weights does not make you bulky. If you've ever seen me or Whit, we lift weight and we are not bulky. I've never been bulky besides when my nutrition is off, besides when I'm stressed out and my sleep is off. And that's where you're going to start to gain weight. And then the bulk is all of that extra around your muscle. Exactly. You cannot be toned and have all of the pretty cuts in your body and the nice and perky butt that everybody wants so badly without lifting weights. Yeah. Unless you go get surgery, it's not a thing.
Yeah, that's actually just reminded me of another pet peeve. We don't have to go too deep into this, but like when girls say, I want to be toned. I don't want to be bulky, but I want to be toned. I'm like, guys, like, ugh, that word just like, because especially coming from my athletes, Because I'm like, guys, we are athletes here. We are not training for a beauty pageant. Like we're here.
You're not trying to be on stage.
But yeah, they think like, oh, toning, like I don't have to like lift heavy. But like people that looked toned and slim and cut, they're lifting again. But yeah, I hear that word so many times.
What do these people expect? Like, I mean, I don't know as much as you guys know at all, but like, what do they expect to get toned then? Like how, like, what do they expect to do? Walk and get it? Like, I'm like,
really do nothing for
obviously it. Obviously have to lift some weights. I understand like, okay, maybe you're not gonna go deadlift, but like
you might.
I actually love deadlift. I never like deadlifted until I started coming here. I was like, oh, I love this. Yeah. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
And that's where, again, a lot of these lifts that are so beneficial in so many ways, especially for like their athletic performance and different things, they don't get that it's not just, even though you're not going to be like a power lifter, or you're not going into like the Olympics for weightlifting, or you're not going to do a competition, these are still staples in your athletic program. This is how you are going to get your speed up. This is how you're going to get your power up. This is how you're going to be the next level athlete. And what sports do you find that these girls, is there like a difference? Do you find that there's a difference in what type of sport where girls are more accepting of listening to your program, and then other ones are kind of like, because I know there's always been kind of that thought process of more of the like visual at like female sports, like gymnastics or things like that. A lot of them, even though they're throwing themselves around, there's so much body control. The one girl who I train, Emily, is an ex-gymnast, and she has the craziest base of like muscle development just from that. And those girls even put in the work and put it in there. And they're the ones that are supposed to be very like, like, look at me. And then all the other sports involved, do you find that there's a kind of a correlation?
I think maybe a little bit more towards like the field sports. So like your soccer, field hockey, like lacrosse, a lot of like the running sports. Not with every school that I've been at, but like a few have shown like not that much desire to lift. Whereas like, some volleyball athletes that I've had, and since they're like more of like a power type of sport, they're more into it. But I'm trying to think, it's different at every school, but I have noticed a little bit like more geared towards the field sports. They're definitely a little bit more timid. I don't think there's any real correlation to it. And I also think it comes down to like the team culture too. So like the girls you're surrounding yourself with, like if they're kind of, oh, I want to look like this, and kind of feeds into everyone. Not huge part, but like I think it really does depend on like the team culture too. So like if you have like your teammates in the weight room like pushing you and kind of like motivating you to get better, and like you're watching them lift and you're like, oh shit, like I need to like step my game up, like I think that's important too, like the type of like culture you have. But
the upperclassmen definitely they set the tone for the rest of them. So if you have the upperclassmen that are kind of just like either checked out or they've just never been into it, when you have all the freshmen coming in, unless the freshmen are very like self-motivated and came from a training program already, I feel like they'll just like fall in line with whatever the seniors are doing. So if the seniors are like, guys, this is what we do, like get your shit together and lift, or if they're kind of just like sitting there like, okay, whatever, then the rest of the lower classmen will just kind of adapt that. And it's just hard to get out of that cycle once people are in there too. I know that I had a teammate, one of our goalies, she always had to put makeup on before a game, which fine, if that's like your pre-game whatever. For whatever reason, our coach freaked out one day about the girls putting makeup on before we played. And then our goalie had a full-on breakdown.
Oh my God.
Because she was like, you're personally attacking me. I need to put makeup on because it makes me feel better about myself. It makes me more confident. So when I'm out there, because she has a fucking full helmet on. It's not like you can see her anyway. And it's not like she's
maybe that's like her routine to like relax her.
But my coach just like ripped everybody about wearing makeup. And my goalie literally was like, personally attacked from my coach, and she had a full breakdown about it. She was like, I don't want to see anybody putting on makeup before the games anymore. We're like, well, what the fuck does that matter? Like, little
thing. If it's like all you care about, then okay, maybe we could like address that issue, but like, I mean, that just might literally make her feel better and more comfortable than
that helps her perform. And
like, whatever. She was like, look good, feel good, play good, coach. She's like sobbing. I'm like, oh my God. That's about it.
I've had that happen before, but there are some girls that I have to kind of, put a little pepper in their step, be like, come on, like we're doing this.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to almost get on the girls more than you do the guys? Like the guys is kind of like, you have to show that you're in charge and you have command, but is it almost like once you get that, the guys are kind of good with it? Do you find that you have to get on the girls more, like in the weight room, like, come on, let's go?
Yeah, there's, I think more of the time it's females. Like I have to kind of babysit sometimes and kind of push them. With the guys, I don't like, obviously guys like to lift for the most part. Sometimes we have to do like a little ego check and be like, hey guys, like, they want to do things, some of them, not all of them, want to do things their way, or like how they like to lift outside of the weight room, things like that, like, or like their form. Like sometimes I find like if I correct a guy's form, like on bench, they kind of like are taken back, like, oh, well, what's wrong? Like they kind of like get offended almost. Like, well, I'm watching you. Like I've seen people bench press like for years, like literally years now. Like I know what's wrong. And sometimes they need a little bit of an ego check with like little things like that. But I think females, I kind of have to like mentally psych them up a little bit and kind of like motivate them a little bit more than I do guys, which I think, honestly, I think is probably normal and probably everywhere.
Yeah. I know that the guys have you every single time we talk about you in such high regard, and that's why I was very excited to get you on here, because I know that you're very good at what you do, and you're, again, the guys keep you at a very high regard and respect. You a badass.
Badass.
Do you find that each place that you've gone to, do you feel like you have to restart the, hey, I'm Whit and I know my shit and I'm a badass all over again? Or do you feel like at this point you're just so sure of yourself that you just go in and do your business, and whatever anybody else around you has to do is what they have to do?
No, I would definitely say that the 3 universities that I've been at, like every time I've gone in and I've, kind of, again, set the standard and like make it known that like I'm not a pushover and you can take advantage of me. And I think that's so critical, especially in the first time you meet all of the kids and the athletes, and even just like the first like couple weeks, you just have to put your foot down from the get-go, because if you don't, it's literally going to make your life a living hell. And you just have to, I was nervous. Like I always get nervous, like meeting like my new teams and stuff. But like once I kind of just, talk to them, and I'm not always like this badass person and like you can't talk to me and like I'm so serious all the time. Like once I kind of get that out of the way and they understand, and then I kind of just like, I like to make connections with them and I like to talk to them and like learn about like their life, and they love asking me questions, about me, and they just want to know like me more. So I think in the beginning, definitely you have to be tough on them, and then you can kind of open up as you go.
You can ease your way. It's never, I had one, well, I don't know what you call them, I guess, peer. I had one peer in the athletic training program. You have to go through like your tests or whatever, your interviews, and then only 15 people out of however many people apply get accepted into it. And then you're with the same 15 people the entire time. And we had one guy, wasn't even female. We had one guy who totally shot himself in the foot and just tried to be like that class clown, super funny, like everybody's best bud or whatever. And he did not get taken seriously.
Probably got walked all over
the entire time that we were there. He was just kind of like, oh, that's just him or whatever. Nobody would go to him for evaluations. Nobody would go to him for whatever. He was just kind of, again, like that guy that just walked around and was just a clown to everybody. And I think that how we keep talking about, you have to kind of get that respect and show people that you're serious, and then you can let up eventually, and then kind of show that you are like a human, and you are there for like a good time, and you don't mind like having fun when there's fun to be had, but when it comes down to getting to work, you get to work. And like I said, he shot himself completely in the foot from the beginning, and our entire college career was never taken seriously from us or from our professors or from the athletes.
Yeah, I've seen that happen too. I've had other people that I've worked with that I've like literally watched that unfold. I'm like, that I don't ever want that to happen to me, because it's just a nightmare, and it's not good for your reputation. Like, I obviously want to stay in this field as long as possible. And I want to get good recommendations and like have people say good things about me. I think that's important, but yeah, I've watched that happen, and it's not fun.
You're just like, oh no, you're like, don't do it. And then you're just like, I'm not like that. You're just like trying to like separate yourself from that person. You're just like, no.
That's crazy.
So let's talk about your beauty. We keep talking about all these badass and fitness and strength and conditioning. So what do you do? Because I know that you do something with beauty.
And I want to know what Courtney thinks about this, because
here we go.
I've heard a lot about it. Obviously through social media. There's someone I know from college that kept posting about this Beautycounter and like all these products and stuff. And I kind of like talked to her a little bit about it, and you can kind of like consult with them. So you're a consultant, you kind of, educate people on the product.
So you can so you work with them, and then like you sell product, and then you get commission off of their products, right?
Yeah. It's not like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. No, one of my friends actually works for them, and she's told me for the longest time to do it, but like, I do too much already that I'm like, I don't have like the space to like add something else right now and to like promote it. Cause I feel like if I keep promoting something, like everyone's gonna be like, all right, it's just another thing, like whatever. But actually like the products are really good. I've tried the vitamin C serum. Amazing. Obsessed with it. And Sephora actually just picked it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're like up and coming. I feel like this is like
I'm like looking back and forth at you guys. I'm like, what's a vitamin C serum?
This is how I feel when you guys are talking about fitness. I'm like, oh no, like beauty, let's go. No, yeah, they have a vitamin C serum that's like really good for your skin, especially like when you're in the sun a lot.
Okay.
So like you need like vitamin C on your skin for like any like heat, or like your skin's getting not like protected well from the sun. So like SPF and like vitamin C are really good for your skin with like aging too.
What other products do you sell?
So just their like line of like, it's all, they have so many things.
Yeah, they have all the things. They're
like,
pretty coming.
Yeah. So once I found out that you could like kind of do this as like a side hustle, I was more interested in it, because strength and conditioning coaches don't make that much unless you're like in a head position. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. Like I can do this from home, and it's kind of like you put in as much as you want to it, and that's kind of what you're going to get in return. So like if I put a lot of time into it, I'll probably profit a little bit more, but I'm kind of just doing it like here and there. I really like the pretty much everything that I've tried from them, I've absolutely loved. And what I really like is that they have a really high like safety standard for like their ingredients. And I kind of just found like before
are they like vegan too?
I don't know what that, like what they would have to be considered to be vegan. Maybe
was vegan.
I just know that they have like, I think it's like 1,800 ingredients that they ban from using, where like in the United States, I think the only law is like, I think it's like a list of like 30 ingredients that legally you can't put in your products, but there's like all these other dangerous things you can. Mm-hmm. And I just found like the stuff that I was buying at the store, like Neutrogena, it was just like destroying my skin. I just started
it. There are a lot of clean products.
Yeah. So I was like, I cannot keep doing this. And then when I had Mila and like even like laundry detergent, like the stuff that you get in the store, I was like looking up and like researching it, and it is terrible. It is so bad. So that's kind of why I like jumped on board, because I wanted like better stuff for me, and it kind of educated me a little bit more on like stuff that I should be like putting on my child and things.
They have like really good foundations and stuff too that are nice. My friend like always puts up like tutorials and stuff that she uses, and her skin looks amazing.
Oh my gosh, my skin is literally so soft since I've used their stuff.
Yeah, when I tried that vitamin C thing, a lot of vitamin C products are very thick. So I feel like they overcompensate for like what they put in there. like ingredients or whatever. And this is the only one that didn't make me break out. Yeah. And, like, I like sleeping in, and I like woke up, I'm like, ooh, my skin looks good.
So I have so many people that, sorry to cut you off, but I have so many people that reach out to me, like people that I went to college with or people that I went to high school with, and they're like, oh, like you would be perfect to promote this or do this. And I don't even like pay attention to it because I'm like, I don't want to do this pyramid scheme thing. Like I don't have time. I don't want to invest in all this money to start off, and then I don't have time to do whatever. What is the difference between like what you're doing and what all these other things are like? Like, how did you even get started? What's like the starting like of this?
So I think it was literally like $50. You pay $50. They give you like access to all their like digital stuff. They send you like a startup kit type of thing. And then from there you can, I guess you have to buy like samples. So if I have a bunch of samples, it's like $12 for like a pack of samples, and you literally just like kind of give them out for free and like have people test stuff. But there really was not any effort putting into like starting it. Like for me, I was like kind of weird too about like selling product. That's just, I don't like that. And that's not really me. I got into it just cause like I personally like using this stuff. But again, like, okay, I can make a little money out of this, like, and educate other people on it, like fine. But yeah, it was literally like $50 to sign up. And that's really it. Like I just kind of post things on social media and like kind of just show how things work and like what works for me and like, you know, what my skin looks like with this stuff on, and then get some samples, like have people try stuff. Like I've had probably like 10 plus people like reach out to me, which is, to me, that's a lot because I'm not doing it that much. And yeah, I've just had so many people like recently like reach out and they want to try stuff, and that's really all it is. It's really nothing crazy.
So now is it like do you give people like a code or like a link and they go onto your thing and then you get commission from it kind of thing?
Yeah, so I have like my personal page that I have it linked in my bio. You click on that and it just brings you to the website, but it's like automatically hooked up to like my name.
Okay.
Or like when you check out, there's an option where you can say like, did you shop with a consultant? And you type my name in there and it pops up. And then it's just commission, and I literally keep 100% of the commission.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you got me and Courtney to start doing it, are we like a part of your like team, or is everybody then whoever, if you sign up, then maybe you get like a one-time thing and then everybody else can continue on and do whatever?
Yeah, so there are actually teams, and I kind of forgot about that part. So one of my best friends, it's important, one of my best friends started it, and that's like what really pushed me to like join. So she started it, and when I signed up, I kind of signed up under her, and it's like a little team that we're a part of. So we kind of like keep trying to add people and stuff like that. And then you have like I think it's called like a regional director.
Okay.
And then there's someone else above that. I forget what they're called, but yeah, it's like a little team that you can build.
And now you have to, is there like a thing that you have to stay in it now, or you can just like come and go as you please, like do whatever you want with it? Cause you said that you do it kind of like touch and go.
Yeah. So I think it's the first 6 months you have to sell, I think it's like, it sounds a little crazy, but $1,200 in product. And I'm literally, I think I've already done that in the first like 3 months. Okay. So at first I was like a little scared about that. So like if you don't hit that goal, then they drop you down to what's called like Band of Beauty membership. So it's just like their regular membership that you can sign up for, like anyone can do. And it's like $39 a year, and you still get like discounts and like free shipping and stuff like that. So that's only if you don't hit that like first 6 month goal. But if you do, then you stay on as a consultant and you can keep growing like your commission. Like you start off making, it's 25% off of like the products you sell. And then after that you keep growing. I think it's based on how much total like volume you sell, you can earn more commission.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I was a little, go ahead.
Skeptical in the beginning.
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
I think you had a dog happening.
Dog
happening. Like you were saying, you were skeptical in the beginning of it.
Yeah, because like $1,200, I was like, okay, I don't want to like, I'm not putting like 10, 15 hours a week into this. Like that seems like a lot, but I was like, let me just do it. If it doesn't, what's that?
You keep going. I just make side comments all the time.
No, okay.
Talk over me.
It was a little, like I was nervous. I talked to my friend. She's like, no, you're fine. Like you'll be fine. So I'm like, all right, let me just do it. But like I said, I think I already hit the like goal I'm supposed to be at. So I'm like, okay, I do it like maybe like I post about it like once or twice a week and that's it.
That's awesome.
Because I'm that person that I hate like bothering people, even this like contest thing that's been happening. I've been so bad at posting anything about it. I hate being like, do this.
And then I feel like to a point, like people get annoyed with you and they like don't want to like look at your stuff anymore.
People like to just see results. So like if you're using it and like whatever, like they're seeing like your results and like they'll do it. But, like I use so many other different products that like I just can't dedicate myself to just like one thing.
Right.
Because, like that's just me though. I have like so many different things in my kit. Like I've thought about doing it, but I'm like I can't put my focus into it right now.
Yeah, because
I know the products are really good.
Yeah, no, I love them. But yeah, that makes sense because like I'm sure you try like everything and like
I try so many other products too that I really like to recommend, but then like I know everyone else's skin's different. That like I mean like I could add it to my kit and like whatever and like sell it too. Like that would be cool, but I just feel like I have like so many other different things like that I like for my go-tos that I'm like, no, I'm not giving them up.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I'm not like a diehard like, okay, I'm only using this and never buying anything ever again. Like I don't want to be that type of person, but I do like it's just something that I found that's a lot better than what I was buying.
So is it like skincare, makeup, hair stuff? What is it? What is like
they have a lot, like pretty much everything related to beauty. They have like men's stuff, they have kids stuff. It's like skincare, hair, body wash, cosmetic stuff like makeup, lipsticks, things like that. So they kind of have like the whole package.
Is there one part of it that you really utilize? Is it more skincare, hair? I know that you said for Mila you're using stuff for her too.
Yeah, for me it's just the skincare stuff. Okay. Just because my skin's sensitive, and then I found like with Mila, like her skin reacted terribly to like the detergent that I was buying in the store, and it's the only one that they sell in the store. So I kind of like I was like, okay, I need to like do something different. But yeah, the skincare stuff's really just my main focus, I would say.
Okay. Cool. Good. So that's why we just talked about everything. We talked about fitness and beauty and mommy and
killed it.
Everything.
Killing it.
That's why you're here, right? Because we got whole spectrums on it. Is there anything that I know that we spoke about this, is there anything that you want to really get out there? Is there something that you want to ask, anything?
I don't know. I feel like we covered so many good things.
Covered so many.
We did.
Yeah. Well, you guys, in the beginning, I'm just like, fitness.
Oh, no. Then once
I'm thinking about what I'm eating when I get home.
Then once we turned it over, I couldn't stop like looking back and forth. I'm like, vitamin C serum. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna look at this.
How is everything else going on? So let's do something fun. What was it like being in school with Tut and Rick and all the dancers?
Well, so we didn't go to school there. We just were working there. We're interning there. But it was very eventful. They're funny. I kind of just had to like blend in as like another guy, and I think
I'm like very impressed.
Yeah, Rick
did a tuck.
He did like he shotgunned the Red Bull and then did a back flip or tuck.
Mm-hmm. He did tuck, yeah.
And that kind of surprises me that Rick can do these very athletic
I've
things.
seen a lot of like wrestlers know how to like do that. They like teach them, and I'm like, oh God, your neck's gonna snap. Oh my God, where's that form? But he didn't do terrible. Kind of throw himself back a little bit, but
we actually, it's funny with the whole Red Bull thing. So when we worked at Nova, our boss would make us chug a Red Bull before our 6 a.m. lifts to like make sure, not like, okay, if we didn't want to do it, whatever, but like we did it.
It's hazing.
But we did that before like every 6 a.m. lift, and it's just funny seeing them like shotgun them now. It cracks me up. But no, it was fun working with them. They were always like very respectful, and like, you know, they knew like I was a girl, and like they didn't want to be like too like raunchy around me, but like I was like, guys, like I really could care less. Like you don't have to like be weird around me, like whatever. But we shared an office, and we have some memories in there.
You got real close.
Yeah, then it's funny. So when we were in the office, they would always dip. They're always dipping. Do they still dip?
Still.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see Rick dip, but that might be a lie. He might
pretty sure I've
Rick
seen them on their videos.
On Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom.
Tut definitely. Tut dips while he lifts.
We would always have conversations about them like quitting. And I'm like, okay, like I would try and like help them. No, it never worked. I remember the one time, this is probably my favorite story. So the one day they were deadlifting. I don't think I was there for this. They were deadlifting, and this was like sometime in January, so it was like right after the new year. And Tut, like, I think he popped a disc in his back. He was like in so much pain, and this literally was like, when was this? It was like right before we started like our spring semester. And I just remember him just like sitting in his chair, and he literally like couldn't like get up and down without like not moving his body. Oh my God. It was so funny. He was in so much pain.
Oh my God.
I think like a few months later, Rick did the same thing, popped a disc, and they were just like sitting in their chairs. They had to have like a towel behind their back to like support.
They were, like sitting on like a donut. They had like a donut.
Literally, yeah. So I've witnessed some very funny moments.
You're like, guys, do I have to teach you how to lift correctly? You're like, do I need to help you get up?
But no, I hung in there with them, and they would always give me props. Like with football, like we usually did the lifts that football would do just so we knew how to do it. And football players train neck, and I'm up there like on the neck machines, like doing.
No way, do they really?
Yeah, I did like all the neck workouts.
Why do they have to do that?
It helps like prevent concussions and stuff like that. Because like in football, like you're getting hit constantly, and you're like,
I feel like I have to do them anyway. My neck's so fucked up.
Well, yeah, you got to work on different things, but strengthening their neck, like anytime you get like a hit, if you have that support from like the musculature around it, it's like you're less likely to kind of get like fucking thrown around if you have that like good support.
Yeah, so I did cheering, and I got kicked in the head many times, and like stepped on the head a lot, and then I went right into doing hair, so like my head's like all the way down like all the time, so now I just have my neck's just messed up. So bad. Like, so bad. Huh?
I said you just need some neck exercises. Just fix that right away.
Yeah.
Just we're gonna see Courtney. That's she's like,
I'm gonna work out on the podcast. Here's my neck.
Just like pushing against my hand.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm gonna be
All right.
There with them.
We 6 o'clock. All right, guys. Well, this was what, episode 8?
I was like,
8 with the great Coach Whit. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully I'll be back because this was a lot of fun.
You need to come back, but you also need to come here because I need you to come so that you could lift with me here. Okay. Courtney says she's
No, maybe by the time I get there.
I should just come in on one of your workouts for both of you guys, and I'm just gonna be like,
ready.
It's like the damsel distress, like, oh God, you guys are like over here like lifting, and I'm like with the 5 pounds, like, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, if you have any questions about Whit's beauty counter, is that what it's called? We will definitely post her up into the beauty gains and on our thing so that you guys can ask her questions about that. Again, thanks to our sponsors.
Commando, FT Performance Labs.
No Windy Sleeves. Coach Whit from No Windy Sleeves. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, of course. Check you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.